Hello, welcome back to the podcast. Okay, so I promised that I would have a part 2 to the 500K Q&A series, and oh my goodness, this is a long one, and it's an intense one. It's a very we do like a real deep dive, but honestly, even if you break up listening to this and it's on different occasions, or you sit down and really carve out the time, this is a powerful live that I did not even plan for. I could never have intended, and truly just takes so many different directions. I'm just going to share just a few of the questions that I'm answering in this episode, just so you can get a bit of a sneak peek. How did I move through when everything looked like it was falling apart? What is the biggest limiting belief I shifted to create this result? What I'm here to do in this lifetime, and how learning about my past lives through past life regression has impacted the way I own my magic in this lifetime. How I shifted my mindset from stop living in scarcity, and I talk about my abusive relationship and some of the darkest moments in my life where I had zero direction, I had zero purpose. I didn't see a will to continue living, and how I created the most fulfilling, happiest, and most self-loving version of me today. And out of all the things I've learned on this journey, what was the most important lesson? So I talk about shadow work and healing, and how entrepreneurship brings up all of those triggers, because it's all of the fears that we never want to face, right? Like, oh my goodness, am I going to be abandoned? Am I going to fail in front of everyone? What if this doesn't work out? What if all of the inner conflict that we have within ourselves. How I handle imposter syndrome and my take on imposter syndrome for women and people of color as it relates to trauma responses from racial trauma, microaggressions, and generational trauma. And then what exactly I coach on, who I serve, and so many different questions that really just get answered, and certain things that I actually channel on this live. So a lot of my podcasts, I would say every single one of my podcasts, every single one of my lives, I channel. I just turn it on and I just open my mouth and I just start speaking. And sometimes I say things that I don't even remember what I say. Sometimes I say things and I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know I had that in me. It's because I'm not planning it out meticulously, or I have an outline in front of me. It's because I'm channeling from the universe, and I trust that the universe is going to provide me with, I just got a chill from the little space under the door as I said that. That's I'm taking that as confirmation. I really receive from the universe and just trust that I'm always going to be equipped with exactly what I need to say for the person that needs to hear it in the time that I am saying it. And that is truly a surrender that I've begun to, create with the universe, co-create with the universe. So without further ado, I want to invite you and hold your hand and pull you into So without further ado, I want to extend my arm, extend my hand, and invite you into this beautiful episode where I think you will receive so many breakthroughs, set an intention in terms of what you want to get out of this, what you want to learn, who do you want to become, who do you want to embody. And I truly think that this is a really, really powerful immersion and channeling of my journey making it to $500,000 in sales revenue. So I am so excited for you to jump in and to share your thoughts about this episode, and I will catch you on the other side. Tiffany Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration, and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of the 500K Q&A. I love that rhymes. So I'm going to be answering your questions that you have sent in, questions that you want to ask while on live directly right now. If you do have a question that you'd like to ask currently, please use the question icon at the bottom right. You can just submit your question there. That way it's really easy for me to see it and I can actually click it and all of us can see it. It gets featured in the center. So it's just a little bit easier than the comments so that everyone else can see it. So that's what we're doing. I have some questions here that I've saved that I know I want to answer that you all have submitted either today or not yesterday. I think it was the day before. And I'm really excited. So, so someone just said, I just found this live. What is it about? I just surpassed $500,000 in revenue in under 2 years. I'm answering all of your questions about it. So you can ask questions on this live. And I also have questions that I am answering from before. So let's get started. Okay. So here is the first question I'm going to answer. So somebody asked, how did you shift from batch creating to creating in flow? So how to avoid being fake busy. I love that you brought up fake busy because that is something that so many entrepreneurs do, myself included, especially in the very beginning of starting my business. And it was essentially this idea that I had to be working on something all of the time in order to feel productive, in order to feel like I was doing something in my business, even though the things that I was doing were not actually things that were like needed in my business at all. They were things like spending hours on Canva creating graphics and like trying to like redo my website and like change the copy and then change my bio like 600 times as if someone's like looking at those things. It's honestly our brains acclimating to, oh my goodness, this is a new thing that I'm doing. I'm putting myself out there. It feels scary. So our brain kind of wants to cling to what is simple and what is like easy, right? Like changing your bio is easy. Playing around with graphics on Canva is easy. So the reason why in my signature offer and group coaching, lifetime group coaching program, Business Activation Academy, I actually start my students off with starting to sign clients first and actually working on attracting their clients first and really being clear on their one-on-one offer instead of website, content, aesthetics, all of those things, funnels, ads. There's so many things that we can get caught up in doing that are really not necessary, especially in the very beginning. So how I shifted from batch creating to creating in flow. I think the biggest thing that allowed me to make that shift was, and I'm going to actually screenshot this so that I can put it in the in the description. But I think what really helped me was starting to trust that anything that I had to say, so I call them downloads, okay? whenever I receive a download that this is something that I'm supposed to be talking about, this is something that I'm meant to share with my community, sometimes I will literally open up that dialogue with me and the universe to receive a download and really ask, what does my community need to hear today? And trust that whatever comes through is exactly what I need to share. It doesn't matter if it's late in the afternoon and I feel like it's not the quote unquote right time or optimal time to post. I just post it anyway. And I just trust that even if, it's one person that reads it and takes it in, that is the most powerful thing I can share. And of course, reminding myself that it isn't just one person, right? It's so many more people. And we've been conditioned from different marketers and different social media gurus and just content in general that we have to post in a certain time, in a certain way. It has to look, perfect, and it has to be acceptable. And so really what I started to step into was trusting my magic and trusting that whatever I was meant to share, whatever I was meant to, whatever was meant to be shared through me as a vessel of that message, of that medicine, I trust it. And I trust that it is not going to be the most perfect, aesthetic, put together message that is going to be received by people. It's often the message that has no limitations, that has no rules around it, and just allows you to really show up and allows you to be that version of yourself that is valuable no matter what, right? It's trusting that you have something valuable to say no matter what. And I think that's a really important way of looking at it and being able to trust your magic through it. Okay, I'm gonna come to some of these other questions that I've been asked. Okay, so bearing.soul asked, how did you move through when everything looked like it was falling apart? Ooh, okay, this is a really good question. And I actually was featured on Simone Soul's podcast, Joyful Marketing. And everything that I share in that podcast episode is actually answering this question. So I go more in depth. It's a really good episode. I actually have it linked in my stories right now. So if you wanted to go and either save it or listen to it, it's in my stories. Just click through a little bit and you'll see I actually linked it directly. So you can go and save that and listen to it when you have some time. So I guess the simple answer to this is, I mean, there really is no simple answer. It really was just me allowing room for so much discomfort and so much uncomfortable emotions, and really learning to have my own back through, and I say this a lot, but it's so true and it's so important in entrepreneurship, is truly having my own back and truly trusting myself in the midst of the chaos, right? Trusting that it's going to come through, trusting that I am going to be okay, and that everything that I want is literally coming to me, not even coming to me. It's here now. It's here for me to tap into and experience and receive right now. And I think that the more I was able to realize and recognize and accept, and I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, I'm not gonna sneeze. Okay, the more that I'm able to receive that and trust inevitably that I am going to be successful has been really helpful. And sometimes I didn't feel that way. Sometimes I didn't feel like, oh my goodness, everything is just perfect and coming into fruition, and like it's just all like peaches and rainbows. Like I didn't feel that way 100% of the time, right? It definitely was It was a trust fall with the universe. It was really me, like literally falling back like this and expecting the universe to catch me. And sometimes it felt like straight up ass. There's no way of putting it. I am not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that it was easy and simple and flowy all of the time, because it fucking wasn't. It was painful. I cried a lot. I had to get coached a lot. I had to reach out to people a lot. I had to get away from the laptop a lot. I had to get out of my house a lot, right? When it looked like everything was falling apart for me, which this has happened like a couple of times in business, right? It comes in waves. I really had to remind myself that business growth is not linear. It doesn't look like you starting your business and then from there it's just this upward trajectory, and it's just so easy and so beautiful, and it's just money milestone after money milestone. It looks like this, right? And sometimes it's very high highs and sometimes it's lower lows. And what I've learned throughout the entire process is that I get to love myself through it. I get to have my own back through it. That if everything came crumbling down and I was no longer able to be a coach, or I couldn't run my business anymore, or I never hit 500K, or I never make it to 1 million, that I loved myself and that I trust myself and I trust the spirit of my business, and I trust the universe to guide me in that right direction. And I trust myself to say yes. I trust myself to make it happen and to get the results that I want. I don't put that onto anyone else. I don't put that onto my business coach. I don't put that onto people around me, my friends, my colleagues, I like to call them, other coaches, right? A lot of you are coaches. So colleagues, friends in the industry. I don't put that on anyone else. I put that on me. It is not my coach's responsibility to get me to my milestones. It's not my friends and coach colleagues' responsibilities to get me to where I want. It's mine. And the more that I'm able to fully trust myself and take responsibility for that, all of the quote unquote good and the bad, I don't love those words, because I truly think that you can reframe anything that happens, even if it feels negative or quote unquote bad. But for the sake of the term, I'm going to use it. I just think that there's so many ways that you can look at something happening to you and look at, how is this happening for me? What am I learning here? What do I want to take in a different direction in the future? What do I want to do differently, right? What do I want to replicate in the future that I really did enjoy? I think there's always learning lessons. And I think that's something I'm really proud of myself for doing, is always looking at the learning lessons and always looking at it in a kind of curious lens, where I would like put on my lab coat. I say this to my students all the time. I would put on my lab coat and I tell them to do the same thing, right? Put on your scientist goggles and just run experiments. If this experiment didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, let's look at that. Why? Let's just get a little bit curious, right? Why didn't this turn out the way we wanted it to? What were you hoping for? What were you thinking while you were running this experiment? What were some things that worked? And if it didn't work the way you wanted it to, let's change up some of the variables, right? Like an actual science project or a research project or experiment, you just switch up the variables and see, okay, let's try it again. Let's do it again. Let's get curious about the possibilities and curious about the results and what we can achieve. So that helped me to detach from the outcome, and it helped me to detach from falling apart when I felt like everything was falling apart. So that's kind of my long-winded answer. I feel like there's no perfect way of going about this. It's really just regulating your nervous system, having your own back, learning to love yourself over and over and over and over in so many different steps. Like, you literally do it one step at a time. You just take it one day at a time. You rest as much as you need to. You love yourself. You baby yourself if you need to, right? There's so many ways that you can learn to kind of regulate that nervous system and learn to just get in touch with your energy and your intuition and what you're being taught in that specific experience. So that's kind of my answer to that. I want to look at some of the comments before I move into the next question, because sometimes they get pushed up if people are joining, if there's a lot of questions or comments, etc. Okay, so I'm seeing, my favorite thing about you, Tiffany, is your unwavering faith and trust. Thank you. I needed to hear this today. Yay, I love that. My favorite thing is your energy and how passionate you are about all this. Yay, I love that. Hi, Manal. Beautiful. Proud of you. Word, really needed to hear this from someone else. Thank you. You're so welcome. Okay, beautiful. Hi, everyone who is joining. Let's see. Okay, what other questions? Feel free to put your questions in this little question icon. I'm also answering questions that you all have put into my story inside the little question icon. Question sticker is what I meant to say. Okay. What made the biggest difference from establishing? Okay, this is a good question. Okay, so Embodied Ritual asked, what made the biggest difference to establishing and growing your business as a mom? I'd love to know how to focus my time and energy while with a toddler. Yeah, this is really important because our schedules look so different, and we have different levels of privilege within that as well, right? Some of us have the privilege of childcare from family. Some of us don't. Some of us have, two parents in the household. Some of us don't, right? So for me, I'm a single mom, and I have been a single mom since my daughter was like 8 months old. And so now the schedules looked really different from when her dad and I first split. But now we co-parent her. So I have her 4 days a week. So really what it looks like is me figuring out the energy that works best for me, and then trying to kind of time it around the days where I know that I'm going to have a little bit more help. It also helps that she's in school. When my daughter was a toddler, I don't know what I would have done. I'm sure I would have figured it out in some way. But when I started my business, she was 5 or 6. So she was already in school, and that helped a lot. Just because we have different levels of privilege when it comes to childcare. And I think that so much is defaulted onto the mom as that primary caretaker, and it's bullshit. And sometimes it just becomes like layers and layers of things that kind of are on your plate. And so I would say find a way where you can create a schedule that allows you to focus on the bare essentials and the most important things in your business. This goes back to that idea of being fake busy, where sometimes we just do things in our business just for the sake of doing them, just to show that we're busy or to feel like we're productive. And so really getting clear on what is the season of business that you're in. Understanding seasons and cycles are going to be really, really important as well. So for me, when I realized that my business would go through different seasons, literally like the seasons on Earth, right? When you're in a season of winter in your business, you're taking more rest, you're hibernating more, you're taking care of your body, you are doing things that are nourishing and feel good to you. When you are in a season of spring, you're maybe in a launch, you're doing something brand new, you are maybe showing up more, maybe you are taking more masculine action. So just being aware that you're not going to be on 24/7. So taking a look at what is the season that you're in business, and also the cycle that you want to honor within your own energetic cycles. Because I know for me, learning to work within my bleed cycle, so my menstrual cycle, because again, women work on 28 28-day energy cycles, and men have 24-hour energy cycles. So for so long, because of the patriarchy, women have been expected to show up the way that men have shown up. That's why we have 5-day work weeks, right? Is because of the patriarchy, essentially. And because feminine energy is seen as less than masculine energy. And so learning to work within your bleed cycle, if you bleed, right? If you are a person that bleeds, allowing yourself to recognize what is going to create the best schedule for you is really, really important. But yeah, I think for me, it's just figuring out times that I know I'm going to be spending specifically with my daughter and learning to love her in her love language, which is quality time. And then certain times and days where I'm setting aside to work on my business. And then it forces me to focus on the most important things in my business. And then asking for help is a really big one. And I know that that's not something that is taught to women necessarily. And so learning to ask for help from the people around you, whether even if it's like childcare, like 1 or 2 days a week, or if there's a friend or someone that you can help and like switch days, maybe you watch their kids, you do some type of a trade. I used to do that when I was a young single mom and I had to get to work, and sometimes I would end up bringing my daughter with me. I'm really grateful that my professors and my bosses have been okay with me bringing my daughter to work and to school, because I literally could not find childcare. I had no money. I couldn't afford anyone to take care of my child while I had to go into work. So I feel you, and I know it's not easy, and there are still ways. It is hard, but you can do hard things. Okay. That's what I want to say on that. Okay. So let's see. What do I want to answer next? I'm going to answer this one really quickly in case there's anyone that is new or just finding this live. I also have no idea how you guys find my lives if you're not following me. So if someone can explain that to me, that'd be really good. Okay, so the question is, what do you work in? I have another question that I saved and screenshotted here that was, what do you teach? So in a nutshell, without going too deep into it, if you're brand new, if you just found me today or you're just finding this live, I call myself the business activation coach. What that means is I help brand new coaches or coaches. So, okay, let's start with brand new coaches. If you're a brand new coach, these are typically people that have never worked with clients ever. You are working a day job, you're doing something to kind of support yourself, but it's not the thing that you want to do. You have felt the pull of your secret sauce, as I call it, and you want to create something with your magic and your medicine, and you have no idea where to start. You know you want to make more money, you want to make more of an impact, you know that you want to serve people, and you have no idea how to get started. I help you to own your magic, create a simple one-on-one coaching offer, start working with beta clients so that you can gain experience, testimonials, wins, create a process, gain confidence. And from there, you start to market your services, work with paid clients. I teach you how to do sales calls, so discovery calls or selling in the DMs to your most aligned clients, and help you to evolve your coaching business as you work with clients, discovering who do you want to work with, what do you want to coach on, what don't you want to coach on, what is your magic, and refining that and really getting great at coaching. And I teach you coaching tools that you can use with your clients. So essentially, if you've never coached anyone ever and you want to build a successful coaching business, I give you everything that you need inside Business Activation Academy, which is my one main signature offer. That is the one main way of working with me. I've torn down all of my other offers because this academy is just so fucking good. And I do weekly live coaching inside the academy every single week. It's really funny. We were just talking about this today, and one of my students was getting coached on thinking that she needed pre-recorded modules and lessons for her clients. And I was like, why do you feel like that's more superior than what I'm doing right now, which is just coaching you? And she was like, oh my God, you're right. She was like, Tiffany, I haven't even gone through all of the lessons inside the online course, the academy. I just show up to get coached every single week, and that's what makes such a big difference, right? And then a couple of the students agreed, and it's like that coaching is so powerful, which is why I offer it weekly. So those are the main people I help. I also serve existing coaches that are just not seeing the results they want in their business. So maybe they've booked one client here, one client there, but they want to see an effortless attraction of clients just showing up in their DMs, showing up in their emails, buying their services in a way that just feels so good, so flowy, and learning how to tap into that flow, which is so fun to see. So those are the main two people that I serve. And I mean, this is what I do and experience, and it's also what I teach. I have never sent a cold DM. I made it to 500K. I didn't start ads until just a couple of months ago. And I really, really, truly attribute growth and showing up and being in integrity 100% of the time, and just being in flow and allowing yourself to own your magic to be the thing that attracts clients. And my clients always end up finding me. I have no idea how they find me. Sometimes they're literally just like, you showed up on my feed. I have no idea who you are. I need to work with you right now. And it's like, boom. And it just happens just like that. Like this month, I just had an influx of clients that came in from like, I have no idea where. And I just trust my magic. I trust that they're going to come. There's no perfect strategy where I hunt them down or try to find them in the hashtags or go into Facebook groups. I don't do any of that. That sounds exhausting. And I know, sure as shit, y'all don't want to be doing that. So I teach you how to attract them and do so in such an effortless manner, because we don't have fucking time to be hunting people down like that. We're going to be attracting our clients. There's a very big energetic difference there. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so I'm going to answer this question by AV Gain. Do you recommend beta clients for every new offer or only in the beginning? So that's a really good question. I would say it's really important in the beginning to work with beta clients for sure, because you are still building out your process and building your experience. Even if you don't call it beta clients and you're just working with paid clients, you're still building out a process regardless, right? So say that you've been working with paid clients for, let's say, like 6 months, right? And you're thinking, okay, you want to create a new offer, and you're thinking, should I do beta clients with this offer? I would say it's always powerful to make sure that when you are teaching a process, that it's been tested, okay? So whether that is beta clients or like a beta round where you do like one whole beta round that's at like the lowest price it'll ever be, and you are testing this process, because in reality, even if you don't call it a beta test or a beta client, you're always evolving your process. Your business is always growing with you. You as a coach are always growing. Who you serve is always going to evolve, okay? So allowing yourself to, even if you don't call it or structure it very strictly, if that's a word, as a beta test, being open to ways that, which is just the premise of working with betas in general, is being open to this idea of this is malleable. Let's like literally lab coat on, right? Scientist goggles on. Let's run this experiment. Let's get curious about this. Let's see what's working here. Let's see what's coming up for the clients. Let's see if they're getting results, especially if it's a bigger group program. This is why I always say to my students inside Business Activation Academy, start with one-on-ones. When you start with a group and you have no idea how to answer questions from 5, 10, 15 people at once, even more, all of your thought errors, all of your gaps are going to come up in a group. And when you work with one-on-ones for a good amount of time with a bunch of different people from different angles, you are then able to anticipate, oh, after they learn this, after they try this, this is what's going to come up for them. And then you're going to include that in your process. I know that when my clients book their first paid clients, they're going to have some type of mind drama of like, oh my God, what if I just got lucky? I don't know if I can do this again. Is this even possible? And then they start kind of panicking and getting frantic, right? So I've created content and a process around that because I know that happens. I've literally gotten on hundreds of one-on-one calls. That's not even a like metaphor. I've gotten on literally hundreds since I started my business 2 years ago, hundreds of one-on-one calls. Okay. So I know in this process what happens when and exactly how to coach them because I've gotten on one-on-one calls for an hour every single week with several clients, sometimes up to 12 different clients all at once every single week. And I know exactly what happens, right? So being open to that process, I think is really, really powerful. I know there was a follow-up question here from the same question asker. Do you have betas as free or at a lower price? So that's something that is really dependent on what feels right to you, right? Do you want to have a beta as a free client or at a lower price, right? What feels good to you? What feels aligned to you? Sometimes if you have a lot of experience and you just haven't worked with clients in that capacity before, you're able to charge a price point for that because you've been doing it maybe in your day job, right? Maybe it's been something that you've been doing and mentoring on the side for a long time and you know that you can just jump in and charge for this. If you've never worked with anyone ever, and this is your first time coaching ever, right? And you're just starting to put to use the coaching tools that you've learned, then I would say maybe doing it for free would help to lower your anxiety and allow you to come from this place of this is just me showing up to practice my coaching and allowing this to be what's the right word? Just a place, a space, a container where your inhibitions are lowered. You're just kind of like, you know that it's going to create less mind drama than a paying client that's paying you $2,000 and you've never coached someone before, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like what is going to create the space for you to really be open to coaching and being open to learning as a new coach? Are you gonna feel more comfortable doing it for free? And you could do that for like 1 or 2 clients and then start charging. Or would it feel more comfortable for you to get paid? The main thing I want you to do here is make a decision. What ends up happening is new coaches go back and forth and try to like figure out all of these little logistic things, these like technicalities of like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should it be 8 months or should it be 8 weeks or should it be 12 weeks? Should it be 6 months? Should it be a year? Should I offer this? Should I offer payment plans? Just make a decision. Make an executive decision that feels most right to you in the moment, and you can always change your mind. You can always change your mind in the future if it no longer feels aligned to you, but just make a decision. Stop letting your brain do this mind drama thing where you swirl around and spiral into a rabbit hole and you don't even end up putting anything out there because you're still in this like paid or free 6 weeks or 8 weeks type of thing. Okay. All right. Can you guys see my rabbit? Look at how cute she is. She's just chilling. All right. Let's see. What else do I want to answer? Okay. Hello, Asia. Imposter syndrome. How do I deal with imposter syndrome? So first, before I even want to get into imposter syndrome, I would like to say that racism and racial trauma plays a big part in imposter syndrome, and so does the patriarchy, specifically for women and women of color. Okay? Sometimes it isn't just this freak out kind of fear thought situation. Sometimes it is generational trauma. Sometimes it is the effects of trauma response in your body from racial trauma, especially if you've worked in corporate or you've worked in like somewhere that is a kind of workplace environment, or you've experienced racial trauma in some way. Sometimes it isn't necessarily and xenophobia, right? Specifically, yes, for immigrants, children of immigrants, and refugees. So I just want to note that sometimes the way that we think of imposter syndrome and the way that like a white, straight, cis het male might experience imposter syndrome is going to be different than a queer, for example, a queer Asian American woman like me. Or another woman of color, or another, person who's in a marginalized community, because there are certain fears and there are certain trauma responses that come up for us that show up differently and are received and experienced differently. So I just want to make sure that that is really clear. So for me, when I do feel like I am experiencing imposter syndrome, it really is just a matter of regulating my nervous system and being really, really kind to myself and allowing myself to just like create whatever unglamorous thought that I need to think in order to get through it. A couple weeks ago, I coached my coaches group. My business coach is Simone Soul, and she has a program called Joyful Marketing, and it's amazing. There's 1,000 students inside it, and I coached one of the live calls, and I experienced so much anxiety, and she doesn't know this. I didn't talk about it at all, actually. But I just experienced so much anxiety, and I just had to create these thoughts in my head that would allow me to get through it. So literally some of the things that I was thinking in my head was, Simone is fucking smart. She would not choose me if she didn't believe in me. And and literally just the thought, I'm not going to die. I'm going to be okay. It's only an hour, right? And it ended up going amazing. And everyone was so excited and happy, and people that I had never even met before or spoke to was like, oh, I saw Tiffany was coaching. I knew it was going to be magical. And I was sweating my ass off the entire call. I wanted to like crack open a window. The window was already open. I live next to like the BART. So the BART's like always going in the background. So I always keep my windows closed. And I was just like sweating. But yeah, it went so good. And I guess some of you guys were there. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. Saying you rocked it. And yeah, and I truly had an incredible time, because I knew that like I was going to be able to, I was going to be fine. It wasn't going to kill me, right? Sometimes our human brains are literally here making us feel like something's going to kill us because of like our reptilian brain. It's just a fucking human brain. It's here to keep us alive. It's not here to like, it's here to want to be safe all of the time. Yeah, I live in the East Bay, right next to Oakland. So I just feel like there's so much that like I feel like there's so much that comes up, especially if you are going on live for the first time, right? Or you're posting something for the first time. You're like showing up and allowing yourself to be seen in a way that you've never been seen before. And sometimes the thing that will just get you through it is, I can do this. I am not going to die. Yes, this is hard, and I can do hard things. And it's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be some beautiful, fancy mantra that you repeat over and over. Sometimes it literally just is the thought, I'm not going to die. I'm going to get through this. I know what I'm doing, even if you feel like it's terrifying. And guess what? When you get through it that first time, like the first time that you go on live, you are panicking the entire time. And the second time, it's a little bit less terrifying. And then the third time, it's a little bit less terrifying. And then the fourth time, you are not even really thinking about it as much, right? Sometimes it's literally just a matter of forcing yourself to do it because you know that you want to experience showing up in a way that you've never done before, and realizing that your brain is it's gonna make you feel like you're gonna die, and you're not, because your brain is here to help you survive. It's not here to help you thrive, essentially. Okay. Can someone tell me if you can hear me? My speakers just did something weird. Just let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Or the hearts. I'm assuming the hearts means that you can hear me. Just let me know. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I have a question from Sarah Lee 10. Out of all the things that you've learned on this journey, what is the most important lesson? That's a really challenging question, because I feel like I've learned so much from this journey. I have learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about business and personal development and becoming embodying my highest self and my most fulfilled self. I think the biggest thing though is that I'm able to love myself no matter what. And I guess that might be like a cheesy answer, but I didn't think that starting a business was going to propel me into this huge personal development journey. I had no idea that I was going to grow as much as my business is growing. I have never loved myself more than I do in this moment, in this time in my life. And that's saying a lot, because without going into too much detail and turning this a complete other direction, there was a really dark time in my life where there was no will to live. And that is like not to be taken or said lightly. And I don't want to just breeze past that, because it was a very, very, very dark time in my life. And I don't know how I got out of it alive. That's kind of all I'm going to say about that. I've shared like bits and pieces of that journey here, but of course there's a lot of it that I keep to myself. So, obviously during that time, I didn't love myself. I didn't feel like I was worthy. I didn't feel like I wanted to be alive. I would wake up every single morning and just think, oh my God, I hate this. I hate my life. I can't believe I've woken up and I'm still here and I'm still dealing with this shit, right? There was this very, 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 again, like dark cloud over me for a really long time. And I just thought that that's the way that life was. And I thought that that was exactly what I either deserved or was just the cards that I was dealt. And I was just stuck in this situation, this like very, very young teenager alone with this newborn, excommunicated from my family, kicked out of the house, completely alone, postpartum depression, had literally no idea what I was going to do, was barely making rent, and was like afraid I was going to be homeless. And so I think that, and knowing that it's capable, like I was capable of getting from that place to getting to where I am now, where I fully love myself. I speak when I need to. I speak up when I need to. I set boundaries when I need to. I do not let anyone into my energetic space if they are not aligned with me, whether it's in my business, in my containers, which is why I have application processes, and I don't just accept anyone into my academy. I'm going to launch a mastermind later this year. I will not just let anybody into the mastermind, right? I don't just let anybody into my space, my friends, right? Like I'm very, very serious about what I'm doing in my life and who I am and the example I want to set for my daughter, the way I want to show up in integrity for my community. And I think that's shifted so much. And I was already on a personal development journey a couple of years before I started my business. But when you start a business, it brings up it's like meeting your soulmate. It brings up all of the shadows that you thought were hiding back in the corner in the attic and were perfectly tucked away. They get brought to the surface like that. It is crazy. It is literally insane. And there is no way of being able to grow a business as successful as my business is now. There was no way I could have done that with all of my shadows and skeletons still lurking in the closet. And that doesn't mean that you need to be healed in order to start a business. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm also not saying that now that I've reached 500,000 that I'm in this like perfectly healed, angelic, like enlightened place where I've just transcended humanity. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that when you start a business, it brings up a lot of shit that teaches you what you need to learn and is such an incredible experience. It's like nothing I've ever experienced in my entire life. And I truly think that without me starting my business, I wouldn't have experienced some of the things that I've experienced. I wouldn't have tested myself and stretched myself and grown in the way that I've grown without my business, without showing up in the way that I have. Because you really have to show up and not give a fuck what people think about you. You have to show up and be authentic and be in integrity and have really hard conversations. I've had to let people go. I've had to fire people from my team. I've had to let go of clients. I've had to let go of people that were no longer in alignment with, programs. I've had to deal with refunds. I've had to, just put myself in these places and get coached and be in these like really uncomfortable moments in my business where I was put there in order to grow, in order to experience a lesson that would teach me what I need to learn in the next level, the next season of my business. And I think that's really important to note because it's not just, starting a business and everything's just going to be peachy from there, right? It's just going to be all strategy and you can just show up and, follow this like step by step formula, and then you're going to get all the results you want. It's actually like a complete whirlwind of a journey. And the people that avoid that and just go straight into hustle or escapism or fully like masculine energy in their business, I can tell you that they are 100% going to burn and crash at some point, because it's not that hustle doesn't create success. Like it does create results, but what does it cost you in the meantime? What does it cost you in the long run? Okay. So, let's see. Okay, I want to answer a question from Alyssa. She's one of my BAA students. Hi, Alyssa. And she asked, how did you actually shift your mindset to stop living in scarcity? So, gosh, how do I want to answer this? I mean, it definitely wasn't an overnight thing. It wasn't something that I feel like happened and then was just, I was like fully in abundance mindset from there. It was me slowly being more and more and more open to the way that I would think and the way that I would approach my life and creating results in my business. And every single time I would have a thought that was rooted in scarcity, I would be able to notice it more. I would be able to just be aware of it more until I realized that this is just not the way I wanted to think. This is not the way I wanted to create results in my life. I think the biggest thing that helped me start this journey in the beginning was realizing that my thoughts create my reality. And that my thoughts create my results. It's not actions. It's not your life circumstances. It's not what people tell you you're going to reach or not reach. It's your thoughts. And when I realized that, like really, really realized that, my entire life changed. It's the reason that I hit $500,000 in my business. It's the reason that I am the happiest, most fulfilled version of myself I've ever been. When I fully accepted and believed that my thoughts created my reality, it was like over. It was over. But it took a while for me to be open to that and start really like looking at what are the things that I did believe that were rooted in scarcity. What were the things that I did believe that didn't serve me anymore? I almost had to do like a like a spring cleaning of my brain and my energy and let go of and throw out the things that I no longer wanted to hold on to. And it was hard, y'all. Like, it wasn't easy. There were things that I was holding on to that I felt like were serving me and that I knew for sure were serving me. You know, it was like, I was so comfortable in it. Like, okay, I'll share a quick story, or not really a story, but an example. I was in an extremely abusive relationship for years, and a lot of people, you know, when there is a talk of like toxic or abusive relationships, it's always like, well, why don't you just leave? And it really isn't that simple, right? Sometimes for women, I'm going to speak specifically to and about women here. Sometimes for women, that's their financial stability. Sometimes it is, you know, it's like, that's the only place, like it's so much more complicated than just, why don't you just leave the relationship, right? And that was the same for me. It was like, I knew that I had deserved better, but there was still a part of me that felt comfortable because this was someone that I had known for most of my life. We had created a whole life together. We were, like we'd gone through so much together. There was definitely trauma bonds on trauma bonds on trauma bonds. And it was me having to realize how I was taking part in my own, what's the right word here? How I was taking part in that situation, like where my responsibility was and how I saw myself as comfortable in this situation, even though it was tearing me apart and I was completely losing myself and there was various forms of abuse. It was still comfortable to me because I didn't know any different and I didn't know that I deserved any different. So I want to be able to point that out here when we're talking about shifting your mind and shifting your subconscious thoughts, because there is a part of your brain, there's a part of your subconscious that is going to latch on to where you are now because it's serving you in some way, which is the reason why you haven't embodied that next level version of yourself. And the reason that you haven't gotten to that next level is often because there's a part of you that is being served by what's happening around you, right? There was a part of me that was being served by being in that abusive relationship, and that was the shadow, right? And it all happens very subconsciously. It's not like when you are in such a toxic, abusive situation, it's not like you're consciously like, oh, I love this. Like nobody in their right mind thinks that. It is a very subconscious, sneaky thought that happens, and which is why it creates us being in situations that like for longer than we should, because of those things. And that's why when it comes to abusive relationships or toxic relationships, and this isn't just romantic, right? Like in my situation, yes, it was romantic, but this is with any connection that you can build with somebody. You have to look at the part that you're also playing and that shadow that is coming up for you. If you're interested in doing more of this work, there's a book called Existential Kink. I forget who writes it, but it's incredible. And it talks a lot about shadows. It talks a lot about exactly what I talked about in terms of unhealthy and toxic relationships, and why it isn't as easy as just walking away, or why don't you just leave, right? Like there's a part of us that is being served by these situations. And it's very similar to this question that I'm being asked about shifting my mindset from living in scarcity. It was realizing that I was being served, that I was being served by my thoughts, by my scarcity experiences and situations. Yeah, Asia, you would love it. It's called Existential Kink. I'll type it in. Just like it sounds, by the way. Existential Kink. And it is by, hold on. It's by Carolyn Elliott. It has a black and red cover with a woman holding her hand over one of her eyes. So that's how you know you got the right book. Yeah, you're welcome. So that was the book that really helped me realize that there's so many shadows within every single one of us. And it's not a secret, right? Our shadows are, you just look around. What are some things that are happening in your life? What are some things that are patterns that keep happening over and over and over again? These are your shadows. And I want to take it one step further, because I've done past life regression, and I believe, and of course you don't have to believe what I believe, but I'm just sharing with you. I believe in reincarnation. I believe that I've reincarnated and I've had several past lives. And because I've seen into my past lives and I've actually watched myself die, I've watched what happens and what I've learned in those past lives and why I came to Earth this time as a queer Asian American mom and a single mom, all the things that I've experienced. I know that I experienced this, and I'm going through karmic relationships and I'm healing karmic things because I have experienced shit in my past life that I'm here on this life to heal. And I didn't always believe this. Like, I was raised very religious, and so even like bringing that up to my family, they would they would look at me as if I was walking off a spaceship. And that's okay, right? Like, no one has to be on board all the time. No one has to agree with everyone all of the time. And so anyway, I think that's really important to just kind of take a look at your shadows and take a look at what's coming up for you, what patterns you see. And if you are interested in past life work, past life regression work, it's so fucking powerful to look at what are some of the karmic relationships and patterns that are coming up for you and how are they linked. And if you have like weird fears, like I had a weird fear that was explained by one of my past lives, and sometimes the way that you died in a past life it can explain some like really weird fears that you have in this life, and it's inexplainable, and it just kind of shows up. Like there's there's something that I've been fearful of my entire life, even though I haven't had a bad experience with it. I don't really want to get into it right now. But I saw into my past life and realized that I was taking part in something within that same kind of general idea, and it created this fear that then passed into this life. And so yes, audible, yes, 100%. Yeah, grew up in strict Pentecostal churches. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, I have a lot of religious trauma that I've worked through. Did you do it through a hypnotherapist? I did. It was a hypnotherapist. She's also my Reiki master. Her name on Instagram is Holomua Healing Arts. Her name is Brit Yap. She's amazing. I went into her office because she lives here in Alameda by Oakland. And so she put me in a trance and I saw 3 of my past lives, and I highly recommend it, but I don't recommend doing it if you're not ready for it. Thank you, Breathwork Monk. Yes, Holomua_healing_arts. She's amazing. Brit's the best. She is my Reiki master. She certified me in Reiki as well. And yeah, so I wouldn't recommend it if you're not like fully ready. I had to take several months in order to be like fully ready to receive and be in a place where I could actually look into my past lives and realize where some of my karmic relationships and things like that have come up for me. I actually have an entire IG live replay on my 3 past lives. They're there. On my feed. I'm not going to go search for it, but you can search for it if you want to listen to exactly what happened, how I died, some of the fears that were coming up that I just mentioned. You can go and listen to that. Okay. Did it help you with this life? Yeah, 100%. That's what I was saying, was like going into my past lives helped me realize why I reincarnated during this lifetime, during this age, and why, like, what I'm here to share with my medicine, and why I'm meant to show up as the most authentic version of myself, like why I've been appointed to do the work that I'm doing. It also helped me heal so many of my fears and just give me so many answers to inexplainable things that I've been dealing with since I was a child. It helped me literally bridge the gap between all of it. It was really, really powerful. But again, don't do it until you feel like you're ready, because it can be, I definitely had a lot of anxiety leading up to it. It was very scary, but it was such a beautiful experience, and I'm actually going to do it again. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to answer? I do have a couple of other questions here. What is your best advice to building a community? Do you guys want to hear the answer to that? I think that's a pretty quick way of, I think that's a pretty quick answer for me, is just don't overthink it. I don't have this strategic plan where I'm like, okay, on Monday, I'm going to go live. On Tuesday, I'm going to engage with like 10 people. On Thursday, I'm going to go into the hashtags. On Friday, I'm going to post to my Facebook group. Like, I'm very flowy with it. If you all want to hear something from me, I do a podcast on it. I go on live. I love going on live because it's the best way that I can serve you all and answer your questions in real time. I also love to speak. And so like speaking, podcasts, lives, these are all things that are up my alley. I create content and post content every time I think of something that's valuable, that is going to serve you all. I'm always in integrity. I'm very transparent. I just go with the flow. I don't plan my content out. I don't plan any of this out and try to get the most engagement or post at the best time so I can, receive the most followers or likes or whatever it is. I don't even check my metrics. I don't check my likes. I don't give a fuck about my insights. I could give a shit about how many followers I have. Like, I truly, truly don't think that those are the things that are important. I truly just feel like building a community and marketing is just showing up and helping people. I just want to help my clients, whether you are a paid client inside my academy right now, or you are a client to be a student that is learning from my free content. You are all beautiful. I'm going to show up in different ways for a paid container where they expect certain things and I expect certain things from them versus a free live stream. But at the same time, I look at you all as my students, my clients, people who want to learn, people who are here to absorb my magic, my medicine. So I don't gatekeep information. There's not like certain secret things that I share here in my paid container that you only have to pay to get access to. Like, I'm just very honest about all of my content, and like I'm here answering all these questions about how I reached 500K. So I'm very, very open. I'm very vulnerable. I've clearly shared very intimate personal moments. So I would say if you're looking to build a community, just ask yourself, what is the way that you can show up as the most you that you can think of? What is the way that you can show up as like the biggest version of yourself, the youest you that you can possibly think of, and just do that. Okay. Anytime you start thinking about like, oh, I need to put together like a strategic plan and, some type of strategy for content and batch my content, and this is the best way to get more followers. And it's like, just shut all that shit down. Like, shut it down. Like, stop it. It's exhausting. I know you're fucking exhausted. Don't do it. Okay. Don't do it to yourself, because I know you fucking hate it and nobody likes it. And guess what? People pick up on that shit as well. Like, you can tell when someone's like truly just showing up in their energy and who they are versus like, this is a very intentional thing and this is very transactional and I better get 2 signups if I like. That's so tiring. And I've actually found, because I would used to do that too, right? We all have. It's so normal. But once I've shifted into a flowy state of just like, I'm just going to share information and downloads and whatever comes through me, whatever the spirit of my business wants to share with my audience, and just showing up in that way, I've actually attracted the most clients and the most paid students ever just by being me, more so than me going like into this strategic wormhole of like, I gotta post this and then I gotta post that, and then if I'm launching, it has to look like this, it has to do that, I have to have these launch emails, and I have to have like a bonus, and then I have to have like an open cart discount or whatever. Is like, that stuff really stresses me out. Like, my ADHD brain could never. I don't know whose brain can handle that. Like, I've bought some courses and I've worked with some coaches that, it works for their brain, and like, I like, in another world, I wish, but it doesn't work for mine. And so really just learning to honor what works for your energy, what works for your brain, even if that looks very different than somebody else, that's the best thing that you can do, and not shame yourself for it. If you are a more aligned person and you do like having structure, but also allowing room for flow. I truly think that balance of having both structure and flow is really beautiful. I heard this, I'm going to share this with you all because it was really good for me as a visual learner. Think of like the masculine, or no, let's start with the feminine. Think of the feminine, which is flowy, listening to your intuition, listening and tapping into your feelings, right? Think of it as oatmeal, right? It's like, it kind of like slips and slides everywhere. It's kind of like gooey and wet, right? Like, that's like the feminine, right? So really flowy, it just kind of like flows around. Think of the masculine as the bowl. So the masculine is that sacred structure that holds the feminine, knowing that you are safe, that you are protected if you do have enjoy strategy, if you do enjoy showing up in a way that you have planned ahead of time, right? Because the masculine is planning, tracking, organization, action taking, right? Feminine is the being, the trusting your intuition, the flowiness. So if you think of the feminine as the oatmeal, oh yes, I love that emoji. If you think of the feminine as the oatmeal, so that it doesn't slip and slide everywhere and you don't end up getting anything done and you don't end up taking any action, the bowl is there to support, right? Also so that you don't slip into the wounded masculine, where the wounded masculine is over action, just taking action and not connected to your intuition at all, right? Disconnected from the feminine, like very wounded, toxic hustle culture. structure, that is the wounded masculine. So if you're able to blend and create a balance that is the yin yang, right? It's not yin and yang, it's both of them together. It is creating that dichotomy of both the masculine, the feminine, the being and the doing, the flowiness and the structure, creating that basis for your business and for your life allows you to flow in a way that you've never been able to before. Asia said this entire live is a masterclass. I love you. Thank you. Yeah, all of my lives are like full on master classes. This is always like what I think of when people ask about, offering, because I used to offer multiple offers, and now I just have my one main offer, which is Business Activation Academy. And that thought of like, oh, I want to serve all different types of people at different price points and different ranges. And it's like, my free content speaks so loudly. Like I could literally package this up and like sell it, right? Which I'm not going to, but like I could, right? There's so many different ways of being able to show up and serve your community. And I truly believe that the more that you give and actually overgive and over deliver, not to the point where sometimes we're taught to like sometimes as women, we're taught to like give everything to a point of like disconnecting from ourselves and losing ourselves and saying no to ourselves. What I mean as over deliver is like, instead of holding certain content and tips and certain coaching to myself, is like showing up and allowing you all to fully feel that energy. And if you decide and you choose that sacred yes of working with me, you do it from such an empowered place. This is what I teach inside the academy of aligned sales, where it's not, feeding on someone's pain points and making them feel guilty and shameful so that they buy. It is, how much better does it feel when someone is in full control and they're so empowered and they're so attracted to you and they say yes, right? And they're like, yes, this feels so delicious and beautiful and magical. And I just like feel it in my body and it just like vibrates through my skin, right? Like I have to be a part of what you're doing. It's such a fuck yes. It's such a 10 out of 10. Like, how could I not be a part of your container? Those are the types of clients that you want to attract into your program, and not the people that you feel like you have to hunt down or find or, go through Facebook groups or other people's pages or, go into like the deep wounded masculine and hustle of like hunting those people down and getting them to say yes, versus someone saying yes with their full body and so excited to work with you. That also creates the room for when they're inside your energetic container, everyone's an aligned client. That energy is so potent. It's so sacred. It's so beautiful. And it's something that you've created because you don't say yes to the clients that are not a fuck yes. You don't say yes to clients that you feel like you have to handhold throughout the entire process. Right? You are saying yes and they are saying yes. It's a beautiful initiation and relationship. Okay. Breathwork Monk said the free content and info you give illustrates your alignment and it's refreshing. Oh, thank you. I fully receive that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's do a couple more questions. If any of you have questions, pop them into the question icon and I will show up or I will let the questions show up on the screen and I will answer a couple more. I did take screenshots from the question sticker, so I'm going to see if there are any that I may have missed. Let's see. Okay, there's a question from the Michelle Grace who asked, what would you have done differently if you started over today? That's a really good question. And I have a simple answer to that. I wouldn't do anything differently if I started over today. I wouldn't do anything different in my business. I would have let myself, do the wrong things and say the wrong things and even create, like, this is something we talk about a lot in my mastermind container, is creating harm. As coaches, we do harm sometimes without even meaning to, right? And what do we do when that happens? Because also we are human beings, and sometimes we are going to quote unquote get it wrong. Sometimes we are going to say the wrong thing. Sometimes we are going to make a mistake and fall on our face. I think that if I started over today and I knew what I was doing and I knew what steps to take, it would be so boring. If we knew every single thing that was going to happen in our lives, like when we were going to meet our soulmate, when we're going to have kids, when our business is going to hit a certain milestone, if we had friends that would surprise us, like we knew every single time. If we knew every single one of those times exactly what was happening, how boring would that be? So I think that it's been such a beautiful experiment and experience for me by not knowing anything in the beginning. And thank you, Jose. It's so beautiful to see your face, or your little icon of a face. I appreciate you and receive you. I receive your compliments. Like if I started over today, I truly don't think I would have done anything differently, because the person that I have become through everything that I've done, through everything that I don't even like the word failure, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to use it. All of the failures that I've created have allowed me to learn exactly who I need to become and the full embodiment of who I am now, learning to love myself, learning to have my own back, learning to create this unconditional I don't even know what the word is, like this unconditional, radical love that I have for myself that I would have never, ever had in the past, has been so powerful. I think that sometimes when we first start out as new coaches, we want to get it all right. We want to look at what other people are doing. We want to look around us and go, is this person doing that? Is that person doing that? Is this okay? Is this right? Is this the right way of doing this? And we've been socialized to ask that because of society and because of the school system, having to like raise our hand and ask for permission, even to go to the bathroom, right? And looking at what is right versus what's wrong, right? And so when you start your own business and you show up and you're meant to do it your way because it's never been done before. You are meant to pave the path. It's never been done before, and there's no one else to look to, because you are the trailblazer. I was going to say blaze trailer. You are the trailblazer. You're blazing a brand new trail that has never been created before. So why are you looking around to other coaches, other entrepreneurs, other business owners, other people to tell you what to do? When I coach my students inside Business Activation Academy, I never tell them, this is what you have to do, go and do it. If you don't do it, then you're wrong. I would literally be found dead before those words come out of my mouth. They make me cringe just thinking about it. What I do instead is I ask questions, I coach them and dig deeper into, okay, this is coming up for you. You're asking for direction. Why do you feel like your way is wrong, right? What do you want to do? What lights you up? What makes you feel sparkly inside? What makes you feel like you can do this every day for the rest of your life? And what does that look like? Go and do that. And oftentimes they're like, I can do that? Or that was so freeing, because we've been told our entire lives that we have to show up in a certain way. And guess what? If you're on this live and you're receiving this download, remember, I don't I don't plan any of my lives. I don't plan any of my podcasts. I show up and I trust the spirit of my business. I didn't prepare for any of these questions. I just trust that whatever is meant to come through me is going to come through me. And if you're on this live watching this replay, or you're here at 9:30 Pacific time, listening to this, that you're meant to hear this. You are meant to hear that you are here to do it your way. You're here to do it differently. You can't find a roadmap for this because you're meant to create it for yourself. There's no strategic plan that you are here to replicate because your way of doing things is not replicatable. The way that you are meant to do things is meant to be designed by you. Designed by your energy, designed by your magic. And so when you fully own that and trust that and receive that, you stop looking at the people around you and looking at what they think, because guess what? It would be so fucking easy if everyone was on board, everyone agreed, if everyone did the same thing, we would literally just be clones of each other. And then there would be no need to, there would be like, we wouldn't even know what was different because everything would be fully the same. Right? We're all here with different talents and different gifts. And oftentimes it's the things that you've been taught to feel shame around that is your superpower. Your ADHD, that's your fucking superpower. That is your superpower because no one has a brain that thinks like you, even if you don't have ADHD, right? But all the things that we have been taught to feel shameful of or guilty about, those are the things that your aligned clients are going to book you for, are going to hire you for as their coach or whatever business you're in. Most of you are coaches, but they're going to hire you for that service because of that thing that you have. And it's going to be so powerful because you own it and you're able to radiate in that joy, and B, because this is the literal reason that you reincarnated on this earth. To look at someone else to copy their strategy is a literal disservice to spirit, to the universe, to your soul's purpose. Okay? I really want you to receive this. And I want you to give yourself permission to show up and be free and free yourself from all of the things that we've been taught to do in business and Instagram. And I have to do this and I have to do that. And I can only post in this time and I have to track my hashtags and I have to engage with these people. Like, shut it all down. I want you to, from this day forward, shut that shit down. Stop batching your content. Stop trying to plan ahead for everything. Stop trying to write all of your emails because it stresses you the fuck out. Stop looking at your likes. Stop looking at your metrics. Stop it. All of it. All of it. Okay, throw it out the window and allow yourself to fully show up in the way that you're meant to and trust your magic, even if you don't see it in the worldly ways that shows up on your screen through insights and likes and comments. Trust and have faith that people are seeing you and receiving you, and they are being pulled closer to you every single time you show up in your energy, and trust your magic without the parameters of, I have to post this way, I have to do this thing, I have to track my insights, I have to write all of these emails, and I have to batch all of this content all at once. Trust that when you show up in your energy and you have a download of exactly what you want to share with your people, even if it's in the middle of the fucking night, that you show up and you share that shit.
because people need to hear it, and they don't need to hear it in the perfect, most aesthetic form and the most perfectly written caption or the most perfectly worded sentence. Trust that your magic and your message is more important to get out than any of those things, okay? Trust that none of that shit matters, and people need to hear from you. People need to hear from you in your magic, in the way that you own it, in the way that you are meant to share it. And the quicker that you own that, the quicker that you get there, the more people are going to hear from you, the more people's lives are going to be transformed by you, the more that people are going to step into their fullest embodiment of themselves. It is way bigger than what you can see and even what you know of. Expect only 2% of your people to be seeing like what you're sharing, right? There's always so many ways to continue sharing and replicating your content and continue showing up with repetition. Okay, I'm going to answer like 2 or 3 more questions. Let's see. Okay. Someone said Tiff was God for sure in her past life. I was actually in a way I was. If you watch my past life regression live, I tell you about that. I ruled a specific land. Just like thinking about it brings me to this like place of like peace and like serenity. I like ruled over this land that was mine, but in a way it like wasn't, because there was no hierarchy, and it was like, it was just so beautiful. There was no like government, there was no like corruption with the leaders. Like we would all just kind of like take place, and like eventually I'm going to go back to that place after my time on Earth. And it's going to be beautiful, and someone's just taken over for me right now. That's what I learned from my past life regression. Okay, so let's answer this question. What did you learn in your beta coaching session that empowered you to feel confident during your first official launch? Okay, so just to be clear, I'm not sure what you mean by launch, but just to clear it up, I didn't have like a cart open type of launch. It was more so like I am launching my coaching business and I'm open for one-on-one paid clients. Okay, so just so that we're clear, when I started my business, I actually did. So this was before I started my business, but I guess there's a part of me that just knew, which isn't new. So I did a masterclass in person. I didn't know anything about the coaching industry, by the way. I didn't know that there were all these coaches. I didn't know that there were so many. I didn't know about the industry. Okay. I didn't know that there were ways of like doing like cart open launches and like evergreen products and like group coaching. Like I didn't know any of this. I literally was just asked to speak on a couple of panels because I was a content creator. I was an influencer working with brands. And I essentially wanted to start I wanted to create my own masterclass and teach my own students. My eyes look really red. I'm not high, by the way. I got my lashes done and they get really irritated because I have really sensitive skin and really sensitive eyes. But just in case anyone's wondering, I'm not blazing right now. Okay. So yeah, even though I kind of feel like I am, so that's kind of how I started, and that class sold out. Like it was so cool. The students that I served from that class became my first coaching students. I offered them all free sessions and they were my very first. And honestly, you just know, like when you feel that you're pulled towards coaching, when you feel like you are like when you feel like you have that notion, I just posted a post on desires earlier this week. And when you feel like you have a desire, trust and honor that desire. It doesn't come up for no reason. One of the examples that I gave in that post was like, I don't have any inclination to become like a woodworker or get my law degree or rescue a pet snake, right? I don't even know if you can rescue snakes like you do like dogs and cats. But I have no inclination to get really good at like mowing my lawn, right? Like I have a gardener that comes and takes care of that. Like there's certain things in this life that I'm just not drawn. I am not drawn to fishing or camping or any, like I love being in nature, but like I'm not drawn to any of that shit, right? Because that desire is not here for me. It is not in my heart, right? I feel called to serving people and healing people through my hands and doing beautiful work in the world within mindset coaching and helping people start their businesses. I feel called towards coaching because there's a desire there that I honored, and I had no idea. $500,000 was even available to me at all. You got to remember, this is coming from me on food stamps, having to submit a pay stub every 6 months to show that I was still living below the poverty line in order to get like groceries, right? And me having to go to like check-in sessions at WIC, which stands for Women, Infants, and Children, where they would supply fruits and vegetables for me and my newborn daughter, that I would have to go into the offices and do that, right? And so I didn't think that I was capable of even seeing more than like $2,000, $3,000 at one time. I was working for $19 an hour in my day job. And so something like $500,000 was not something that I thought was capable for me to receive at all. But I just trusted that nudge. I just trusted that there's something here. There's something I want to do here. There's something that makes me feel sparkly here. When I jump on these one-on-one calls with these clients, with these students, I feel so excited. I feel so excited being able to serve them. I feel so grateful that they chose me to learn from me. I would get butterflies in my stomach. I get butterflies just thinking about it. When I say something and it fucking hits and my client is sitting there staring at me going, oh my God, I'm having a breakthrough right now. Like you can see it in their eyes. Sometimes I can see their energy. Like I can feel it, right? I feel it in my body. Sometimes I feel it in my body where they feel it in their body. It's like a spiritual experience. It's like a full on spiritual experience. And I was like, that is it. Like that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I always want to be coaching and teaching in some manner. And regardless of what that looks like, this is what I want to do. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know what it's going to look like. I wasn't even thinking of like how much money I would make, or even that like it was going to be like my full-time job. I was thinking about that later on because I did get let go from my day job because of COVID. And so I did transition full-time pretty quickly because of that pandemic situation. But in the beginning, I was just following that sparkle. I was just following what felt good for me. I was just following that, oh my God, this makes me so happy. And I want to do this. I want to serve people. And then so from there, I obviously hired a coach. I've hired many coaches since then. And I started to get to work, and I wanted something like Business Activation Academy when I first started, which is why I created it. I wanted something that would teach me exactly what to do from the very start, how to work with beta clients, how to attract beta clients when I'm ready, coaching tools I can use with my clients, how to market myself, how to show up on a sales call with clients that are wanting to hire me as a coach and wanting to learn more, right? Through a discovery call, a sales call. I wanted someone to lay that all out for me. So that's what I created inside the academy. This is my 2 years of experience and trial and error And the weekly live coaching customizes it specifically to your magic. So that's kind of my, I don't have any short answers in my brain. So that's my long answer. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I'm going to do this one and one more, and I'm going to let you all go because I feel like I've been on for like 2 hours. Okay. What was the biggest limiting belief you had to let go of to initiate the success of your new life? The biggest limiting belief. So there's definitely been a lot of limiting beliefs. If we really look at it, all beliefs are limiting in some way, not to get too meta. But everything that we think and believe is like literally just a thought. So when I realized, again, going back to my thoughts create my reality, your thoughts create your reality. When I realized that, and I realized that I was able to change my reality like that by changing my thoughts, I started changing all of my thoughts. I started changing and showing up in a way where I was fully intentional with the things that I wanted to believe. Because remember, a belief is just a thought that you've told yourself over and over and over and over and over. If you have been raised in a family that was rooted in scarcity, didn't make a lot of money, and was told over and over that people who have money are greedy and evil and terrible, bad people, and that was ingrained into your subconscious brain. Your subconscious brain grows from ages 0 to 7 years old. If you've been taught that your entire life and it's been reaffirmed by everybody around you, or you have to work really hard to be successful, or if you become successful, you're never going to have time for a family. If these things were ingrained in you for years and years and years, whether it was modeled indirectly, so you just picked up on it, or it was told to you directly, both are powerful, by the way, then you take that in as belief and you start taking actions, making actions and making moves in your life based on those beliefs. It's like a projector that's always running in the back of your brain. Anything that you do, right? If you've been told, we don't deserve nice things growing up, right? Or if you've been told, you don't deserve to be happy, right? Which is a terrible thought. But if you've been told that, you are going to continue moving through life thinking that everyone's out to get you, that you're never meant to be happy in this lifetime, that everything is going to be a terrible experience before you even get there, right? Before you even show up, before the experience even happens, you've already decided that it is not going to be a pleasurable experience. And so you move through your life thinking these thoughts, having these ways of showing up, and you can see it. You can see it in the patterns that people continue to do in their lives, things that they continue to do. People who in your life, you feel like they have a lot of potential, but they don't ever do anything with it, right? It might have been because back in first grade, their teacher said that they would amount to nothing or called them stupid. And they just ingrain and soak that in. So it's stuck somewhere in their body, right? It is literally stuck somewhere inside their body and is trapped because it's all subconscious, right? It's just something that's running in the back of their head, so that anytime they want to start a business venture or maybe go back to school or do something different, they have that thought of, I'm stupid, I'm never going to amount to anything, why should I even try? I'm just going to put myself through more disappointment and through more failure, right? These thoughts run our lives. And so when I realized that I can change every single one of my thoughts and that it doesn't even have to take a long time, that was so powerful for me. And I would say, to answer your question, Jose, the biggest limiting belief was that it would have to take a long time, or I would have to be fully healed or more healed in order to receive my manifestation or my results or my goals. I had to shift this, and I shifted this a little bit ago, where I was thinking that like I wouldn't be able to reach this next embodiment of who I am until I heal this need for validation or this need to hustle, because I had to really detox and heal from the hustle, like that first year in business. So I was like, after I do that, then I'll be able to receive the manifestation and the business I want. Then I'll be happy, right? It was believing and trusting that I get to call it in now. Not clients are coming, clients are on their way. No, clients are here now, right now. I get to create that with my brain, with my thoughts right now. And it doesn't have to be this long, strenuous process of I have to wait until I heal this and I work on this and I have to do that and I have to show up this way and I have to get to this point in my life or my healing journey. I get to call it in right now, and I'm worthy now, right? Instead of down the line, I'm always one arm length away. I'm always, one healing journey or one healing thing away from my manifestation. No, I am here now, and it is here for me now. And so it is. That it doesn't have to take a long time. It doesn't have to be hard, right? What if, getting to 1 million from where I am now, which is 500,000. So another additional 500K. What if that was even easier than the first 500K? And what if the 500K after that, getting to 1 million, like I'm not going to do math. Getting to that next 500K after that was even easier, right? What if my first million was so simple and every million after that was even simpler, even simpler, even simpler? So yeah, that's my answers to that question. All right. I feel like I've been on for a really long time. So I'm going to let you all go and enjoy your beautiful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I will turn this into a replay so you can catch that on my feed. I would recommend really listening to this, putting that on the background, whatever you might need to do to listen through some of these questions. Cause I don't even remember some of it because I channeled it. But I would really listen to some of those channeled messages and downloads that the universe gave to me tonight. So thank you so much. I hope you have a good night. Thank you. I hope you have a beautiful evening as well. I'm so glad I spoke to your heart. Thank you so much for showing up. I'm so grateful. I really hold that gratitude. And if there are some of you that really want to take this deeper and you're listening to me speak and you're like, yes, that's speaking directly to me and I want to start my coaching business, or maybe you've already started, but you haven't seen the effortless results that you want to create, or you're brand new, you have no idea how to start. I want to be able to guide you. And the best way I can do that is inside my signature offer, which is Business Activation Academy. You'll learn to own your magic, start working with beta clients, learn how to attract and sign clients through sales calls and through the DMs, and do so in your way. When I was talking about personalizing your journey and owning your magic, I am coaching you to own that in your way, in your own unique, your own unique path. Like there's not a path that's already been created. It's been like you are here to create it yourself. Okay. And I want to help you get there. I want you to own that. I want you to be able to see that and experience that and show up as the wealthiest version of you, the most embodied, fullest, happiest version of you in this lifetime, and would love to see you inside Business Activation Academy. You can click the link in my bio and click the button that says Business Activation Academy. I would love to see you in there. This is the best way. Again, we have weekly live coaching calls. You have lifetime access to that, and you have lifetime access to the modules. It is literally a steal. If you want to start your coaching business, you have no idea where to start, or you're not seeing the results that you want, and you really want to embody this version of yourself that is creating the wealth, the fulfillment, the impact, the transformation that you want for your clients and that you want to create inside your dream life, this is where it all happens. It is not just a business building course where it's just strategy and step by step and I just let you go and do it on your own. It is a choose your own adventure magic business school where I teach you to own your magic and manifest the business of your dreams and show up in a way where you see those effortless aligned clients. You tap into the most abundant version of yourself by shifting your own limiting beliefs and getting coached every single week by me. All right. So if you want to check that out, link in my bio, the button is Business Activation Academy. You can read all about it and the application form is there. I check the applications every single day. And if you have questions, you want to talk more about it, let's talk in the DMs. I'll likely respond with a voice note or anything that you need, any questions that you want me to answer. Okay. I love you all. Mwah. Have a beautiful rest of your day wherever you are, and I'll catch you soon. I hope to see you inside Business Activation Academy, and I'll catch you on the next live. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.